I think we need to talk about immigration because there's a lot of heat. It's getting a little bit crazy. My parents came here on a ship. I was born here. I'm not against immigration, but I'm not in favor of the immigration that we're having today in the way it's happening. Let's be honest. Everybody's a migrant that's come to Australia or from migrant origins. Everybody. We had nobody in this country, on this land, for millions and millions and millions of years. And then a few thousand years ago, what we know as Aboriginals here today, or our Indigenous First Nations people, they came from Southeast Asia when our continent of Australia was much closer to Southeast Asia. There were shallow waters, they could probably get across in rafts. Now, since then, a whole bunch of people have come from a whole bunch of countries, starting with the British, and now we're looking at people I think we have people from every country here. Do we have the right mix of people? And do we have enough people? Do we have too many immigrants? These are the questions that are always being dangled around and argued over. I think we don't have enough immigration on the one hand, and then we have too much immigration on the other hand. Let me break that down. If you want to look at how immigration happened here post-World War II, it was driven by the fear that Australia needed to populate or perish. Why? Because I think a lot of Australians at the time, mainly Anglo-Saxon Australia, was very, very fearful of a Japanese invasion or an Asian invasion from the north post-World War II. And why not? That was a real possibility. So they needed to bring people. They needed to bring more people from Europe, hopefully from England if they could get them, but they couldn't get enough English people. So they started allowing people from Europe and then Southern Europe, eventually from Asia, and now from all over the world. Fantastic. So we were trying to populate Australia. We also needed arms and legs to build major infrastructure. Everybody knows dams, railroads, and structures like freeways, highways, all that stuff. That was built by people who came here fleeing poverty or political persecution or other things and wanting a better life for themselves and their families. So immigration suited them, or coming to Australia, and bringing people in suited Australia. Now, today, how does that work? What suits Australia? I'll give you one example of what I'm kind of questioning. We have a lot of immigrants, but we don't have enough houses for them and for us. We have a lot of immigrants, but how many of those are actually on infrastructure projects for the nation, including house building? Because both parties, major parties, Mr. Albanese keeps promising houses, no one sees them materialise. Mr. Dutton talks about more housing, and again, who's going to build it? So we have immigrants coming in. I don't see enough people out there building houses. And when I talk to people who own home building companies, they keep saying, I can't get tradies, I can't get enough people to work, because anyone that's a tradie would rather work for themselves or as a subcontractor and make a lot more money. So yes to immigration, but where? So we talked about who. I would like more tradespeople to build more houses. Just one example, of course, we could use more immigrants to do anything we need. And by the way, not everybody needs to be able to speak English. Let's be honest with each other. If we need arms and legs, people just need to do the work that needs to be done to grow Australia. Now, where should they be? Should they be all in the city, where our resources as far as medical and education or whatever we have now for the number of people that we predicted, if now we bring in 1 million immigrants spread out over major cities in Australia, that's a few 100,000 extra people that someone's got to look after with infrastructure, with services. That's not easy to do. And if it's not planned for, we're going to be in trouble. So should everybody be living in Melbourne and Sydney, maybe Queensland, or should we spread them out across Australia? Maybe more into rural. Maybe we need more help on the farms. Maybe we could do different things with the immigrants that could actually help us recreate a manufacturing industry and export more. So I'm not against immigration. I think we can use immigration to our favour, as it was when people came from, including my ancestors, when they came and they were wanted because Australia wanted arms and legs. Now, one last note. Let's not confuse immigration with asylum seeking or us protecting people who are in need of being protected. We are, as a nation, very kind and generous. We've allowed people to come to Australia because they were being persecuted. That is a wonderful and noble thing. It isn't so wonderful and noble when those people turn out to be associated or have been associated with other terrorist groups in their own area, or when they come here and they start to carry on illegal activities, selling drugs, importing drugs, or facilitating those things, and crime, machetes, you know what I'm talking about. The security of our communities is key. So if we're going to import people and look after them and protect them, let's make sure that if they stay in Australia, they look after their community rather than the other way around. Let's save Australia. Rocco.